How's it going? Oh, I hit the wrong button. We're both on. So Octavius is here. His name is Jeff. His name's Jeff. Darth Octavius. He's been in chat. He's been a big supporter of mine and the old podcast way back in the day. So Jeff, how you doing, man? How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not bad. Just getting going here. You know, it's like I'm not usually
Product placement.
Huh? Do what?
I was gonna say product placement.
Oh, hey. Hashtag not sponsored, but yeah, we're both some Yeti guys, I guess. I love this thing. Ever since I got it, I'm like, it's so good. Anyway, so Jeff, before we really get into, just us sitting there chatting and hanging out with the Star Wars stuff and the whatever, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I got to be honest, it's kind of embarrassing, but you've been a big supporter of mine and of,
all right. All right. Hey, I'm getting like a double echo thing, like a feedback thing, like a delay.
Oh, I wonder. You know what?
Yeah, I'm
I
trying to
bet you.
talk and
You know what? It's picking up for some reason. So give me a second here.
yeah.
Give me a second. I'm gonna plug in my headphones, and that way. Okay, let's see. Why don't you talk for a second and just see?
Okay, well, I'll start off where I live in Central New York. I think I listened to you. I started knowing about you, Jerry, and Brian back in 2005. And 2005. Yeah, it was. What was I doing? I was listening to a podcast show about Star Wars. Big surprise there. And it was a French Canadian podcast where they were doing speculation like everything else. So I wanted to get something else, change it up a little bit. So when I looked up Star Wars podcast, and with the Google Analytics, they had Star Wars from your previous shows in the what we call in the description. So I said, oh, let me check on that. Let me check on these guys. And that was the time when Brian had that long URL, like listen to the Switch On show, when the iPod.com, whatever, how long that was.
Yes.
So from that point on, been a fan.
That's awesome. See, that's one of the things that I always loved about doing that old podcast, which unfortunately the podcast is no longer available on the internets because of many reasons. But I loved hearing how people found us, because that was such a weird. It was such a weird time. It was pre iTunes. It was pre Spotify. It was pre all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just you're not getting the feedback anymore, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Huh. I wonder how you're getting it, because I'm not seeing it. Because what was happening is my microphone was picking up the speaker, and now it shouldn't be that way, because all your audio is coming into my headphones. So unless this is picking up your voice in here, I don't see why. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's awesome though.
Well, not that.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Guys, if anybody in chat, if you hear anything, let me know. I would love to know. I will see what I can do to fix it. But I mean, as far as I can see, everything's good. But so yeah, I mean, geez. It's so weird too, because that old podcast, we did so many Star Wars talks, but they weren't like organized. They were just, we would just rant about stuff, and then we did commentaries. We did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's man, those days were insane. But anyway. So like what can you tell us like what do you do for a living? What is it that Can you tell us or?
Basically in marketing,
Hmm.
mainly right now is at the company I work for. I record, uh, film the products and make a video about what they do, pretty much.
Interesting, interesting. So
And
you
maybe and not only what they do, and also a little social media. We got to work on that a little bit better. But other than that, that's pretty much in a nutshell. And then, of
awesome,
course, ace of master of everything and all that stuff. Like
right?
do little things here, little things there. So
Yeah. See that? I guess if I come into some tech issues, you may be able to help with some stuff because you've got. See, my problem is I had great like a pretty good wealth of knowledge in the mid 2000s. That you know what I mean, the aughts.
mhm.
I guess I don't know what we're calling those. I guess we're calling them
Yeah,
that.
it's the aughts.
Yeah. I don't like buying this camera was a big thing for me, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I guess this is gonna work, and I'm just gonna see if this will work. It's working so far, so. But yeah, that's awesome though. So let me ask you this, because let's just get into it. Like, what are you watching recently? What are you into right now? Like, are you a reader, or do you just watch shows? Just tell me what you're into.
Well, up to up to we call it December. It was like everything on TV. And then when you uh, hear people, watch TV, but then all of a sudden it goes to the streaming part of it. Then all of a sudden I'm watching more and more YouTube videos, and that's more of like Adam Savage when his one day builds, or he just like for 8, 9 minutes a day comes up with these videos where he just answers questions. And then you're sitting there watching it, and of course, this show.
Oh,
Um, and then you got WandaVision, which I'm gonna be watching this one tonight. And then anything on Disney Plus that's interesting, like Star Wars. And then on Netflix right now, I'm watching Meat Eater.
hmm,
Not, it's basically a hunting show that actually shows you the kill and then the butchering.
huh.
So that's pretty much. So I haven't really watched real TV in the last couple 2 months or something like that. But I will be watching the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, see, I was talking with my mom earlier today, and she was like, so who do you got? And I've said I seriously haven't watched 1 minute of football this entire season. It's the first year in I don't know how many years that I've done that. I mean, I was never huge into it, but I always liked to watch and like to kind of know what was going on so I could have conversations with people or whatever. Because everybody would be like, "So with the dude with he took the pass down the line," and I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that," or something. I can't do that now. Like, but then again, I don't see anybody, so because I'm at home. But yeah, okay, so WandaVision.
Yeah.
Let's
So
not go into
usually,
spoilers.
oh yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah,
Well,
let's.
actually, here's the thing about this week.
Oh yeah.
It's getting big, and what I usually do on, you know, what is it, Friday show is to watch it Saturday night. Like as we, get the kid and the wife, we turn down the lights, we had dinner, and we're watching it. So last night, my buddy texts another buddy, which I'm part of we call the text message chain, and he says one sentence. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, you know. So then, about the cool thing about I don't know about Android, but one cool thing about I messages or maybe the texting is that I can mute or hide the alerts, so
Yep.
don't have to worry about that. And then this morning when I woke up, you could see the number on the thing. It says like there was 15 messages between those two goofballs. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you guys like around 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say yeah, because you know me. I hate spoilers, and I hate it when something gets ruined for somebody. I'm all about that first experience, that first time, because you can't
Mm-hmm.
replicate it. You can never replicate it, and if it's tainted by someone ruining it for you, it irritates me. So I won't go into any spoilers, but I would say this because I think a lot of people are still on the fence about WandaVision, which I don't understand. But
I know.
a lot of the threads that I follow online and stuff, some people are just like, yeah, I lost interest after the first episode. And I'm like, so what would you say if somebody told that to you? If somebody came up to you and said, yeah, the first episode just didn't, I like the other Marvel stuff, but yeah, this isn't just doing it. This is not doing it for me.
Well, I'll ask them. Have you been watching the MCU since 2007? Because
Yeah.
it's still from back, all the Easter eggs and everything, and you're invested. So pretty much what they do now, even though it starts off slow, you're going to say it's going to be paid forward soon. And even in the first episode, and I mean, no spoilers here, but when they, when I forgot the actor's name, she goes, stop it. And then the guy's
Mm-hmm.
pounding, why? From that point on, you should know immediately, okay, I'm kind of hooked. Just go. And then the second one gets a little bit better. And then by the third one, especially when you got the end of the song by a very famous guitarist, yeah, you should be hooked by now, you know. And now we're
Yeah.
not talking about the fourth one yet, but the fourth one, how they did that, like on the other side of the curtain. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would say to somebody who is on the fence or has that comment is just, well, if have you been watching Iron Man since 2007, just give it a second, you know. It's
Yeah.
not like there's some TV shows where anybody who's a fan of the Shield from FX. I mean, when you get to the end of the very first episode, boom, you're hooked. Some of them you know, take a little bit of while, but like I said, if you're invested since 2007 and watch most of the MCU movies, stick with it.
Yeah. See,
I
I
guarantee you.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I guarantee you from what episode 5, which is now to the end, it's all gonna come together. You know.
Yeah, and I will say this. I mean, I was into it anyway because I like the actors. I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, I mean, you've heard me talk about I'm big on character. I'm big on character and acting and things like that. Story and plot is just one of the legs of the table, you know what I mean? So the characters have to be there. And if you're not invested in them, then nothing else will matter, right? You've got your
Hmm.
effects, you've got your this. I've actually got this theory, or not theory, I don't know what you call it. It's kind of an idea of a painting, and every aspect of a painting is the movie. And if the movie, like the directing is the colors, the writing is the outline, right? And then
Hmm.
the just trying to, you probably heard, did you hear that? That plane go over? That was loud. Anyway,
Even with the new microphone.
yeah, I mean I
Yeah,
can't
buddy. Hey, it's an airplane.
yeah, I'm in like air traffic. It's just part of the deal. But to me the way that their characters it's literally like you took those characters out of the movies and you put them in a 50 sitcom, and I'm like, this is genius, and it's fun to watch the actors work, you know?
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm like, just have patience. And I think that's a weird thing that I'm sure you've noticed too in the last however many years, 10 years. People just don't have patience anymore.
Oh no.
They don't let a story play out before they start, no, I'm out. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like remember those days when a TV show started in September, ended in May or June. There were what, 22, 24 episodes, and yeah, I mean, and they came out every week. And then like go to work, that Monday or whatever that day, and that's why you call it the water cooler, and you talk about. Nowadays it's like I want it like now. No, actually, what Disney Plus is doing is, smart. It's going back, but it's how it's being delivered is different.
I
So
agree. And Amazon's doing the same thing too. Which
yeah.
I'm really happy about. Like with the boys, they did that. They showed like the first 3 episodes or whatever, and then went with week to week. I think that's smart. And David
Mhm.
Reeves is here. Hey, how's it going? Uh, David is Yeah, David's an interesting guy. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Ah, come on, planes. But anyway, yeah. So we won't go too far into the whole WandaVision thing because again, you haven't seen the last episode, and there's probably some people that are watching that haven't seen that. So
Yeah. And then
yeah.
plus you gotta stay away from Twitter and pretty much the internet.
Oh yeah.
That's what I usually do. That I mistakenly yesterday, at work, I just happened to get on Twitter. I saw one thing that's trending. It's probably a reference to. And I'm like, oh, and that it literally had to shut down the web browser. I said, no more
I
until
remember
tonight.
it was the day that the Last Jedi came out, or it was it was going to come out that night, right? Uh, David, come on, man. Oh, David. Oh, gotta be careful. You gotta be careful in here. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Um, but yeah, the what was I saying?
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi, yeah. The day the Last Jedi was gonna come out, and I was watching a different video, not
Oh yeah,
even
this is the
related.
vaping video.
Yes, I was watching a
Yeah.
vaping video, and somebody in the comments gave away, something big in the movie, and I'm like, okay, I can't. Wow, why would you do that? I just don't understand that. I don't understand that kind of. I want to watch the world burn kind of thing.
Hmm.
I just don't. I don't understand. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about Star Wars. I feel like most everything Star Wars at this point is pretty open, so we can talk about that a little, little
Oh yeah.
wider.
Yeah.
How have you been feeling about the way that things have been going lately on the Star Wars side?
You mean like the episodic shows?
Yeah, or either that, or just in general. I'm just curious about your thoughts.
I think there was one time where I saw or read, not read, it was pretty much like a statement. I think Kathleen Kennedy mentioned about how Star Wars or Lucasfilm has always been, up in the forefront of changing things. And it was for movies back in 77. And she hinted that streaming could be that for Star Wars. And I think she nailed it because with the Mandalorian, there are some people out there that they say that the Mandalorian series, the two seasons, are better than the sequels. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest. There you got people don't like the Last Jedi. You got people who do, which there's me. And then the Rise of Skywalker is like almost but close. So when you have time to tell stories longer than, I mean, you can't cram everything in a 2.5 hour movie. So when you got like The Mandalorian, that's going to be 5-6 hours in a span of what, 10 episodes, it enhances the story more. That's why when they were talking about a Obi-Wan movie, you're like, oh, cool. And then you start thinking about what people have been saying about streaming and how it can enhance the story better. Now it becomes, well, we're going to make a, what, 6, maybe 8 episode, Obi-Wan. Great. Let's, and then after that, if it ends right there, hey, that is like a bonus. It's like, yeah.
I agree completely because my favorite Star Wars movie is Jabba the David. I don't know what you're saying. Like usual, you confuse me. But yeah, no. When it comes to I mean, you pretty much know my thoughts. I mean, I've been pretty happy for the most part with how things are going, and I also know that Kathleen Kennedy is one of the best producers in the history of movies. So
Hmm.
I kind of trust her. I know that there's a lot of people that didn't like some of the decisions made, and they because somewhere along the way the statement was made that, oh, Lucasfilm is kind of by itself and Disney really doesn't touch anything of it. You know what I mean? And that there's this idea that, oh, okay, so if something isn't good, then you automatically blame Kathleen Kennedy. But then Bob Iger did that interview. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like,
Hmm.
he knows a lot more about Star Wars than your typical studio executive. You know what I mean? This guy knows everything. And then the whole thing about, oh yeah, every episode of The Mandalorian had to be approved by him, basically.
Yeah, when
And
you spend about over $4 billion, you kind of have a say, even
right,
though sometimes it's unfortunate because you know it could go this direction, that creative process, but like it's $4 billion, which they definitely made that up already. So
yeah. Well, I mean, and plus Mandalorian was basically the the first thing on Disney Plus. So it was going to make or break them. So yeah, I get why he was involved. But this idea that Kathleen Kennedy was, everything stops with her. I was like, I don't think so. I think in a lot of ways she is now finally able to say, "Okay, let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's try some things." Because that's the
hmm
one thing about WandaVision I think you could say is that it was a risk to do a show like that. You know?
hmm
I don't know.
yeah, and I hope that's what Lucasfilms slash Star Wars learns from WandaVision and the MCU, is that yes, Kathleen Kennedy is a great producer, but you got to have a Kevin Feige,
Mhm.
creative process that has, the what do you call the not also the ins and outs, but the continuity. Like
Yep.
if he does that, that has to show up in that, and then that's the Easter egg for that, So,
I think that's one of the things that Dave Filoni's really good at. He's always been really
oh yeah.
good at that on the in the series, but I mean, he's really doing it for the Mandalorian too. It's not just him. I mean, it's John Favreau too. It's all the creatives really. So yeah, I agree
hmm
with that.
I mean, when you go, I mean, not to go back to WandaVision, but when you got people who read the comics of every, Iron Man, WandaVision, Vision, all that, stuff, and they said, well, we're gonna put this little Easter egg and tell you what that means. I mean, even there's people I've watched on other which shows where they will analyze like the calendar, like what does the heart mean on the August the 28th, and then we'll say, well, in the you know issue 238, which is August 23rd, this is what Vision did. I'm like, okay, blown away, pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
So there's those people who read the comics and say, hey, to when it came to the MCU, let's add this. I mean, it might not be a lot to certain people, but the people who read the comics, that'd be like an Easter egg for them, you know, to watch to be like, oh, okay, cool, you know.
It's but see I think that's the key, right? You want to make it
Yeah.
accessible to your typical person, but then you also want to give a little wink to those people who have been buying these products for years and years and years and years. I mean, that's kind of hard to balance, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like they've done a really good job with Star Wars, but I don't know. I'm a huge Star Wars mark, so I mean, as you know, so I don't even
hmm
know what is it. Oh, David. To be honest, George Lucas' ideas of Star Wars is way better than the new trilogy, but the prequels suck. The prequels suck though. What were your thoughts on the prequels? Were you a fan, or you kind of have you come around, or you still kind of like
No, I think you came around because back in the old show, when you did those commentaries, you can hear you. I mean, you've been, you can hear from that point on to now. You can hear your change of you say your heart or your thoughts on it. For me, it was Star Wars. You know, um, I mean, people, come on, people were you complain about Jar Jar Binks. Well, okay, I can say, well, you got Jar Jar Binks, then you got the Ewoks. I mean, let's be honest. And if you really think about Jar Jar Binks, he was there to help, Palpatine to, create the, let's be honest, the Galactic Empire. So it's not all bad. Yes, some of the acting was a little bit wooden. I mean, but still, the story that really counted. You know.
Oh,
I
for
mean, who
sure.
doesn't want to see the back end of how Darth Vader or became Darth Vader? You know,
Now, are you one of those that you think they should do like a Darth Vader series, or would you want that?
no, that's why you have the Obi-Wan series. You know, if the reports are correct about Hayden Christensen, if you yeah, we have to find out when that happens. You know, after that's all said and done, you're like, do we really need more? Yay or nay? We can't keep on going back to the well. You know,
Yeah, I'm there with
unless
you.
it's one of those above teenage level kind of like Darth Vader, like in the comics, where he just says, "What's the that one in the comic books that I know you said before?" It says, "I don't fear, only there's no
All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead
fear
men.
and dead men." Yeah, I mean, if you do that, yeah, and then where, oh,
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be
like a PG-13, almost near, not like NC-17 kind of like, you know, if you're gonna cater to fans, then get to that, but you know,
well, see, that's the thing though. I think that's where there's that. Okay, so here's the argument. There's the argument of, well, it's Star Wars has always been for kids. That was the first, group of people that were it was designed for, right? And then people say, yeah, but look at this and look at that. I'm like, yeah, but you grew up. You know, it still has to be accessible at that level. And so
Mhm.
the idea of Vader, running around the galaxy lopping off heads and stuff. I mean, yeah, it would be fun to see, but it's not going to be something they're going to be able to show on Disney Plus. You've got to wrap it in a way that um it makes it good for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
I like you said, it's Star Wars for kids, but you have to get to the line and then lean over. The best way is the Clone Wars, how it started off being like a kids show, and then
yeah.
by season 5, 6, and 7, you're like, oh, it's more, grit, more harder, but it's like not close to the line, but it could have been, but yeah.
That's so you were a fan of the Clone Wars then?
Oh yeah. Oh, I also listened to a podcast, by Bucho and Robbie.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
and then the clones.
Oh man, that was yeah, I appreciate that. We both appreciate that. In fact, let me just drop that link just in case anybody wants to listen to that. But yeah, I feel like if you're a Star Wars fan and the maybe the prequels or the sequels left you a little you know, I feel like the
Hmm.
Clone Wars is one of those things that it starts off in a way where you're kind of like, I don't know about this, but if you have the patience, it changes. That's going to sound bad. It enlarges the scope of Star Wars in a way that's so amazing to see, and it
Hmm.
and it enriches everything. I think if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't watched Clone Wars or haven't even given it a shot, oh, you're doing yourself a disservice because it is so good. And if you have
Yes.
Disney Plus, come on.
And then that's where, you don't have to watch, wait every week and just binge watch it, you
Yes.
know, to go all the way.
Yep. And it's also I wish they had a playlist for the chronological order,
Hmm.
They don't.
Oh, on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need that. Disney, I know you watch the show. Probably not, but we need a playlist. We need a playlist for the chronological order to make it easier for people to get into it because it's too difficult to. I mean, it's doable, but it's difficult to manage. So I don't know. Let's see. Wait, what did David say? I think the reason why George Lucas made it more PG is because he's becoming a grandpa with his turkey neck. Well, I don't think so. I mean, I really think that Star Wars was always a way for an adult to give kids some morals and values, you know? I always feel like Star Wars was always a vehicle for that. And he wanted to get that point of view out there, and he was wanting to, you know, enrich children's lives. And it produced people like me in a lot of ways, you know?
Mhm.
It's like I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
think. Go ahead.
yeah, like the kids today, or no, the kids who watched it in the beginning are now adults now, and that's even more fans that we, Star Wars, has, and sky's the limit.
Yeah, and if you start off something like Clone Wars, that's the crazy part is when you hear that, oh yeah, the first Star Wars I ever saw was Clone Wars. And I'm like, wow. What would
I'm
that be
old.
like? Well, yeah, but I mean I feel that way too, but it's like, wow,
Yeah.
how would that be if that was the first Star Wars I've and then you understand why people look at they go, Luke, who cares? You know, what about Ahsoka?
Hmm.
You know, what about and then I think that's what's so amazing about the Mandalorian is that this plan that they have, it's almost a better way than trying to go back to the well, like you said, 7, 8, and
Hmm.
9. So, here we go. The first Star Wars movie I watched was Star Wars the second original. You mean the one that is episode 5, but it actually came out second?
Yeah.
That yeah. Anyway, so what are you looking forward to? All these new series have been talked about. Is there something that you're like, oh my god, I'm like really
Oh
excited
well,
about this?
and well, anything on Disney Plus, but yeah, like Obi-Wan. I mean, Obi-Wan, the Acolyte. That's, I mean, well, any Star Wars pretty much. But yeah, the ones, if someone had to like hold me down and pick a couple, of the Acolyte, Obi-Wan, probably forgetting something else. I mean, Ahsoka. And then you got I was gonna say the Knights of the New Republic, but it's Rangers, right? Rangers.
Rangers of the New Republic. There's
Yeah.
Andor. I mean,
Oh yeah, that one.
there's so much, and it could all be. That's the thing. It could all be
Mhm.
crap. You know, it could all be like, you know, but it could also all be Mandalorian quality or above. You know, I mean, it could be even better than that.
Yeah, and
So
even, like say for like Endor, the Endor series, say if they start or they show you like what the world of prequels where Cassian grows up, and you just from that point on, I mean, yeah, that would be like an Easter egg for me. It was like, okay, we know who he is when the start of uh oh my god, I
Rogue
lost
One,
thought. Huh?
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. We know who he was in Rogue One, but to see him in a prequel era, yeah, that'd be cool. You know?
Yeah, I honestly just want to see Coruscant. I want to see Coruscant after Episode 3. Like, what is it? Does it start to run
Oh
down?
yeah,
Does it start to look?
and that's with Rogue One when that book came out, Catalyst, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if some people said if you're gonna watch Rogue One, you need to read that book. So you read the book, and it's like, oh my god, this is like in the prequel era, and then you read about where they talk about Coruscant, how to look like how they how it was portrayed, not portrayed. What I'm trying to say here is the Ursos were in Coruscant with Krennic, and then you get that glimpse of that 30 seconds in Rogue One was that flashback. You're like, oh my god, I read that in the book. That's awesome. That's all I need. Okay, now I'm satisfied. You know, and then
Yeah,
of course goes towards the end of Rogue One, you go, oh my God, that's right. You're butting up against A New Hope. So then you have to watch A New Hope, and that gives you a whole entire different meaning about rebels stealing plans of the Death Star.
it's I think yeah, and I wished that I'd read Catalyst before I saw Rogue One because Rogue One never really hit for me. But I could see how if I had read Catalyst first, it might have worked better. But I
Hmm.
was trying to read everything in order, and I was all behind and stuff. Uh, David, chill, dude. Just chill. Don't. Don't go after Leon. Leon's a good buddy, as are you. Let's all be friends here. Okay? But Leon said he said the first Star Wars he saw was the holiday special, still the best thing ever. Yeah. No. No. Oh, man, the holiday special. I've only seen it the one time, and it was I never saw it as a kid. Um but I saw it like mid 20s, I guess. That was awful. You saw it,
Oh
I
yeah.
assume.
I
Oh,
mean, the first time I saw it was actually I got it for a birthday present in how old was that? In my 30s. Someone knew. I mean, someone was and also on the Star Wars fan and handed it to me and said, "Here's your birthday gift." And when I open it up, I go, "Oh wow!" He says, "Yeah, you're a Star Wars fan. This is like a rite of passage. You need to watch it." Now you might not like it. Yeah, I said, "Yeah, okay." And then I'll watch it. I'm like, "Oh God, I can't. I cannot remove that from my brain ever again." But you can make references once in a while.
yeah. I mean, that's really the only good redeeming quality of it is that it's become a meme that you can draw from every now and then. But man, it's
Yeah,
what's clumpy or whatever.
lumpy, right?
Huh?
Lumpy, right?
Lumpy. I always call him
Yeah.
Clumpy. I don't know why. It's just in my head that way because he kind of looks like crap. But anyway, um, and Leon says I can't see what he says. I blocked him long ago. David, that's what happens, man. You push the buttons too much, and people just block you. But that's the way it goes. But David's he's harmless, but I get it. I understand. He can be a little rough sometimes, for sure. But anyway, um, so let's see here. You're acolyte. See that one
I mean, interesting.
that really interests me. Well, just because it's probably the one that we know the least. All we know is
Yeah. And then the
it's
promises that might happen. I mean, I think it's right after the High Republic. And
yeah,
I guess there's three phases of the High Republic, and so you got the later Republic, and I can't remember the next two, but it's like Trials of the Jedi or something like that.
yeah,
And then you're like, ooh, what's that going to go? What's that? So plus it has that Sith looking, font and all that. So, ooh, where's that coming from? Is that Palpatine's master, or who knows?
yeah. And that's so you're have you been big into the books? Have you been following pretty well with those?
With the High Republic, I'm not into yet. I haven't bought anything yet. I think the last book I bought was Bloodline, which is a
Mm,
great book. You know, if you keep
yes.
on and then mention it once in a while, and then I mention it on the chat, yeah, Bloodline that's a very good book by Claudia Gray.
Yep. Yep. She's been it's like the Star Wars Mecho Disco. I remember that song. That was yeah, that was funky. But yeah, Bloodline was great. Lost Stars was great, and I am so behind. It's not even funny. I've got a list of books that it's just ridiculous, and it's just because I get into those. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I get into a thing where I'm like every night I read for like a month, and then I lose the routine. Something breaks it. I have to go to bed early, go to bed real late, whatever happens. And then it just completely breaks the routine and I forget to go back and read. And then as that's happening, all of these books are coming out and I still need to read those. It's crazy. But yeah, I haven't read any of the High Republic stuff either, but it really interests me because it's an era that nobody's touched, not even in Legends. The Legends stuff. Were you into the Legends stuff back then?
Oh yeah, I mean the books, the what was it with Jason Solo
Yeah.
what's the that whole thing where Jason, spoiler alert, goes to the dark side. Yeah, that 9 book series. Yeah, that was decent. I liked it. I still have what we call reservations or issues with the Yuzhan Vong. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it was a little bit more like a Star Trekky kind of thing, into the Star Wars universe. Um, how Chewbacca died. I mean, a planet. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
A
that's
planet is thrown at him, you know.
yeah, that's
Meanwhile, back in Infinity War, here comes Thanos throwing a planet at, pretty much Iron Man. So yeah, that's those legend books I read. Uh, yeah, that's about it. You know.
yeah.
Oh, and then,
See,
oh, wait a minute, and I'm looking at the Darth Bane trilogy on my bookshelf over there. Those are
was
good. I mean, and that's another episodic, thing they could do on Disney Plus. A,
right.
a Bane series, or the Knights of Old Republic,
See, I didn't.
intertwine it.
The only, and I think I've talked about this briefly on the show somewhere, but the only series that I read was the original Thrawn trilogy. So Heir of the Empire, last or was it Dark Forces Rising? Dark Force Rising? Yeah.
Hmm.
And Last Command. I still don't have. I don't know who's got my copy of Heir to the Empire. It's I loaned it to somebody and I don't have it anymore. But those are the only ones I read, and I wasn't a big fan. To me, like a lot of people, Bucho's here.
Hey.
What's up, Bucho? Um, but yeah, the my whole thing with that was it felt like how a lot of people look at the sequel trilogy where it feels fanboyish or something. It feels that's how the Thrawn trilogy felt. So when people were like, "No, it should have been like the Thrawn trilogy," I'm like, "No, no," because I didn't care for those. But it doesn't mean that everybody's got different opinions, But I don't know.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
mean, it's like they took his character and his kind, his DNA, and took it from the legends, and they put it in the Clone Wars, or no, the Rebels. Excuse
Rebels.
me, the Rebels, and you know, and then they start from there. It's just, hey, we're not gonna kill him off, by saying he's legends when he's gone. No, we're gonna reintroduce him into this, and then still have the methodical the thought process and going from there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I don't know. I like what they've done so far, but the look. I gotta be honest. I love Rebels, but the way that things happened, I'm not gonna go into spoilers because there's a lot of people that probably haven't seen it, and I don't want to ruin it. But what
Hmm.
happens toward the end is kind of a huh, what? So it's just one of those things where I hope it doesn't get too crazy, too out there. But I gotta say I trust Filoni. Dave Filoni has
Yeah, you
been
have to.
God. He's been so solid. Um, so let me think here. We've got. I'm still trying to think of what I'm looking forward to the most because you probably think it's got to be Obi-Wan, right? I don't
Hmm.
know though, because Obi-Wan is man to see Ewan McGregor back is gonna be
I know,
so
that's what I'm
good.
saying. That's Ewan McGregor. I mean,
I mean that dude is just he's solid in everything he does, and he was one of those he after Train Spotting, which was what 95, I think is when that came out.
yeah.
He immediately was like, okay, I like Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor's awesome. And when I heard he was going to be Obi-Wan, I lost my mind. And then, yeah, so yeah, of course I'm going to be in for an Obi-Wan series. And the Acolyte seems interesting. Let's see, Andor. I'm always up for Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
like if my least favorite movie was Rogue One, which it's not. I don't think it is. I'd have to think about it again, but I don't think Rogue One's the my least favorite. But even whatever my least, I think Episode 2 actually is my least favorite. I think that was my anyway. Even that one, I can watch it. I can watch it and enjoy it because Star Wars is awesome. Even the worst Star Wars is good. Is
Oh yeah.
fun. So I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. Like Rangers: of The New Republic is interesting. The idea of it is interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do. And then all of the oh my gosh, all the drama that's been going on. It's just like, have you been keeping an eye on that, or have you kind of ignored it? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking about?
Well, I was talking about Gina Carano with her all of the
Oh yeah, I didn't listen or hear or read what she actually wrote down, whatever. But yeah, it's like, okay, all right.
I don't know. It's such a hard thing. Um my least favorite Star Wars movie is called The Books. That's David Rivas for you. David. Um but I don't know. My thing is the internet muddles things so much that it's hard to know what the truth is
Yeah.
and where it all started. Like all I could see was that she said something in support. Then they badgered her. Then she put it as her title, and then that's what everybody remembers now. Not the original statement where she said this, and not the
Mhm.
fact that she got sort of bullied into and basically saying if you don't do this, you're not in support. And then when she mocked them, that's when everything went off the rails. I don't like that. That's just from what I could tell, but I don't even know. I don't know what
Yeah.
the deal is, and that's just one of those things where there's got to be a point where we can separate what we think of the person versus what we think of the character.
Yeah.
Does that
I
is that a
mean,
thing anymore? I don't even know.
that's like exactly like, and not as what Gina has done or said. Same thing with Ahmed Best with Jar
Yeah,
Jar. I
yeah,
mean, people hate that character, but they hated the character so much they turned right into the person who's actually doing it.
right.
And I was like, and then you read or you watch where the Ahmed Best was on a bridge ready to kill himself, and then all of a sudden he just came to and he says, "No, I'm not going to do it." And then he has this wonderful life with his. I think he has a son now. He has a YouTube channel, and which is I've seen a couple of episodes that those are great, and it's all because fans didn't like a character, and then that, okay, bash Jar Jar as much as you want. Like I kept, like I said in the beginning, you say Jar Jar, I say the Ewoks. All right, even though Ewoks are kind of funny, cuddly, and cute bears, whatever. But going into their, the personal, you know, like with was it Rosemary, right? Oh, we don't like her, and then also we calling her names and all that, and before you know it, she's shutting down her social media. Same thing with Daisy. She's, I'm done with social media because people can't separate character and the real thing, the person, the actor. You know.
Happened. Leon said happened with the kid who played Joffrey on Thrones and the guy who played Eugene on Walking Dead. Really? People disliked Eugene that much?
Wow.
Did you? Or were you a fan of The Walking Dead, or are you a fan of The Walking Dead?
I'm not saying I stopped watching. Well, yeah, that'd be considered stop watching. Right around season 8 or 9, But yeah, Eugene, that's the mullet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was like
That's what
that,
I'm going for.
Hey, huh?
That's what I'm going for. That's what they, when I get
Yeah,
my haircut, that's what I say. I say, give me the Eugene, and no, no, I'm just trying to grow my hair out. That's it, and I'm just trying to keep it out of my face because otherwise it's like this, and it's annoying. But yeah, I did not know that. I did not know that about. So it's not just Star Wars then. It's not
yeah.
just. Of course, I've heard. I'm not big into like huge into Star Trek. I think you are. You like Star Trek pretty well, right?
Um, Pretty well. Well, if someone's, that thing, Star Wars versus Star Trek,
Yeah.
I'm always going to be Star Wars.
Okay.
But there was that, that dark times right around the mid '80s after Return of the Jedi. There was no look at, Star Wars movies. Yeah, you got the books, but now those are legend. But I think, yeah, right around '87 when Star Trek: The New Generation came, and I was like, oh, let me watch that. That's Star in the Stars. Let me watch that. And then, of course, you got Picard and all that. So when you start watching that a lot, like, oh, okay. And then when Phantom Menace came back, oh, like, oh, okay, Star Trek, go over here. I'm gonna put you on the shelf. Let me go back to the thing I love.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, for me, I guess my thing is I've just never been that big of a Star Trek fan, other than I can appreciate it, for what
Hmm.
it is, but I don't get like super into it. But I feel like I don't know who's worse, the Star Trek haters, the people that go after people on the Star Trek stuff, or the people that go after the Star Wars stuff. I kind of feel like it's the Star Wars people, but I don't even know, and I just don't get it. I just like why, like okay, that's I think maybe that's what something I need to put in the rules on Order 42 is this is a place where people are allowed to like things. And I feel like that's a weird thing. Like if you don't like a specific actor or specific role or character or whatever, that doesn't mean that you have to dislike everything. Number 1, number 2, if somebody else likes it, let them like it.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Okay, wait. Whoa. Um I see. I don't get why people say Steven Seagal is a bad actor. Bucho said, I don't get why people say Steven Seagal is an actor. Seagulls can't be actors. What is going on in the chat? I don't get why people say Bill Murray is funny. And then Bucho said, hint, it's because Bill Murray is funny. Bill Murray, I like Bill Murray. I've always liked
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
Murray. Uh, he's one of those where, it's, are you like this where you see like a specific actor give a specific performance, and then you go, okay, I'm watching that dude for the rest of his career? Does that happen for you? Like for me, John C. Riley was one of those where I don't remember what movie it was, but I was like, I'm in for whatever he does. So if I see John C. Riley on the cast list, I'm like, yes. Ewan McGregor was one of those. Bam, I'm in
Yeah.
for whatever he does. So are you like that or no?
Yeah. There's yeah. I mean, McGregor's like that. Actually, Michael Chiklis. Um,
Yes.
when he was on the commish, you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, he's on the commish. And then when all of a sudden you see the promos for the Shield, they're like, oh, that's he's doing bad things. Like, okay, this is not the commish. This is like bad commish. And then like I said, you watch that first episode, boom, I'm hooked. You know. And plus, I think Michael Chiklis did that Three Stooges TV show movie. Yeah, and he was curling. Kind of, yeah, it
I
was.
don't remember this.
I forgot who it was. We were playing the other characters, but yeah, he played Curly, and then towards the end of the movie or TV show movie, yeah, it became sad. Not sad as his acting was great, but how Curly the person was getting older or something like that. Something I had to watch again to understand it better because remember that performance. So yeah.
Wow. No, I don't know anything about that. That's interesting. Huh. I've always appreciated him as an actor, but I've never seen The Shield or The Wire. There's shows I
I know.
haven't.
I mean, I know. I keep on telling people, "Oh, I watched the show. Oh, you haven't seen the Wire?" And go, it's on my to do list. And then all of a sudden, I had the option to watch it. I'm like, I'm watching that, or I'm gotta do something, and you got to mow the lawn or something like that. And before you know it, it's like months on end. You're like, oh, remember I was gonna watch that? Yeah.
I will tell you I mean, of course, you've probably seen I've been watching The Expanse. That is a good show. If you like sci-fi, you should give that one a shot if you haven't already. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, I
And
think Adam Savage was in it because he liked it, or I mean, obviously people like it, but I think he
yeah.
was on it. So yeah, I was like, oh, gotta watch that too.
So let's see, wait a minute. Look at I mean, David and Bucho are going off. Um let's see what is going on, David? Geez, all this stuff. Something about Chappelle show. Chappelle's funny. Rick James. Okay. I think we're caught up in the chat. It's crazy. But we were talking about shows we're watching.
Hmm.
The other show that I started watching, and it's because of Leon. I'm watching Kingdom on Netflix, and it's a Korean show. I think it's a Korean. I think it was made in Korea, but I think Netflix, was financing it or whatever. Amazing show. So think about almost like uh like 1,000 years ago Korea, and there's almost a Game of Thrones ish kind of uh fight for the crown, but then
Hmm.
throw in zombies. It's great. It's a great show. I'm really enjoying it. So just throw that out there. So thank you, Leon. I can only see Bucho just replying to him. Didn't realize anyone else was talking. Yeah, yeah. David, oof, David's going off in there,
Yeah.
but
Well, it's
that's
been
okay.
a while.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I don't remember. Okay, sorry. I got so distracted by that because I wasn't expecting to get a package today, and I got it. It still says that it's pre-shipment, but I got it. So
Yeah.
not anything interesting, but it's still something that was like I've been waiting on. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's see what else. We were talking about Star Wars. Okay, let me ask you about Marvel stuff because you're
All
into
right.
the Marvel stuff, right?
Hmm.
Okay. How far back does your fandom go with Marvel?
Pretty much '07. It's like,
Okay.
oh, they have. I mean, oh, like when you're like a kid, you know about Spider-Man, you know Hulk. Oh, yeah, I mean, watching Hulk in the TV series with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Oh yeah. Lou
Then
Fragno.
after that, it was, huh?
Lou Fragno.
Yeah. And then after that, nothing. And then all of a sudden, Iron Man comes out. You're like, who's he? Oh, he's a Marvel. What's Marvel has more than the Hulk Hogan, Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. And then also you read up on other characters that uh, that Marvel has, and you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, it is what it is now, is the MCU. That's how I know about Marvel.
Okay. Okay. See, I was into comics there for a while, and I was reading a little bit of everything. Um, but I didn't know anything about. That's really where I really started getting into it. Was like that same time when Iron Man came out, and I'm like, oh, okay, okay, this is cool. And by the way, BC version 3 is here. Hey, what's up, man? Uh,
The Captain.
yep, the captain is here. Yeah, I've really gotten into the comics lately. As if you've been watching this show, you know that the comicsology, man, is so good because you can read all those comics on your iPad, and it's just it's so nice because you don't have to worry about it getting messed up. You don't have to worry about the color fading. uh it's good stuff. It's just good stuff. So I really, really highly suggest that. But so how are you, like, are you looking forward to all of that stuff I mean, you said you were looking forward to pretty much anything on Disney Plus, but like, are you excited
Yeah,
about
because it's
Falcon and Winter
worth
Soldier?
its weight in gold, actually. Yeah, I mean Loki and oh, God, and then you got the Eternals, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then whenever we're gonna get Black Widow, I'll watch that too.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh my God, David. Uh, by the way, um, if you don't remember, Brian, I don't know if you were here, but David Rivas is quite possibly the largest troll on the internet. So, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy, but boy, he likes causing trouble. So just as a
oh
warning.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm so excited about all of that stuff. Moon Knight, I can't wait for it. I don't know anything about Moon Knight, but it's Oscar Isaac. I mean,
hmm
I'm just I'm excited. And Brian said he's meh on Black Widow. That's interesting. Because I was always kind of meh on Black Widow. I was like, Scarlett Johansson, yeah, whatever. But I've really grown to in like I'm actually enjoying her character. So I'm interested to see if that's going to be like another jumping off point, with all the people she's going to be involved with. You know what I mean? In the movie.
Yeah.
What do you like? What are your thoughts on like? Because I'm really interested in Falcon Winter Soldier, of course, because I love those guys. Like,
Hmm.
tell me more. What's exciting you right now?
Oh, well, well, WandaVision's now, but yeah, I mean, you got um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, and with Black Widow, I mean, they gotta like find a way to get her in. I know there's some people that are meh, but everything has to come out about that.
Yeah, I'm just like, to me, Black Widow is, it could be insanely good, but it could also be one of those sort of mid tier movies.
Hmm.
In a way, I don't know. Brian said WandaVision is incredible right now. Falcon Winter Soldier is going to be good. I'm really looking forward to Loki. Loki's going to, I forgot about Loki. Yes,
Yeah,
Loki is
going in
just,
and out of the.
I'm like, I don't get it at all, but I'm totally in because Tom
Oh yeah,
Hiddleston is
and
just great.
especially when it ends up all this maybe with Loki and with WandaVision coming together for Doctor Strange. You know
Yes.
that multi-universe of madness, whatever they're gonna call it. But yeah,
Now, do you
you know.
are you keeping an eye on all the DC stuff too, or are you just kind of like, eh?
I think after watching episode 4 of WandaVision, I told myself I think DC should like stop with their multiverse. But yeah, I mean, I like to. And I'm going to watch Justice League. I mean, because also when I was growing up, I liked Batman, I liked Superman. Those main characters. But it's just that Warner Brothers is not putting the effort like Marvel has.
Yeah.
So when you're watching one great episode after another in WandaVision, you're like, DC, what are you doing? WarnerVerse, what are you doing? So.
It's, I almost feel like um it feels a bit like they it's a weird thing because I feel like in a lot of ways DC was trying to make their moves, and then they kept saying, they kept seeing Marvel's success and say, "Well, we got to do that. We got to do that." But what's weird is DC came up, I'd be interested cuz I don't know in the comics who came up with the multiverse type stuff first.
Mhm.
But I mean, Crisis on Infinite Earths was a comic series that I read recently, and that was back in the 80s on DC. So it's their whole idea of all of these different versions of Batman, all of these different versions of all the characters in these different realities coming together and kind of multi and crossing. Some characters would just get completely killed off, but then another one would come from another universe. So it was a
Mhm.
different character, and it was kind of cool because it's a neat idea. So I feel like Marvel did theirs on the comic side. I don't know who came first. That's one of the things that's always been the thing. But I feel like in the movies, they borrow from each other, you know? And
Yeah.
I feel like Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman movie did the whole female empowerment action, or, big superhero better than the Marvel side with Captain Marvel. But at the same time, I like Captain Marvel. I don't know. It's such a weird thing right now because I feel like they're both fighting for that people's eyes, but I feel like DC is just they're moving too fast and they're not putting in the work, the groundwork for it to all be able to build on itself. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making
Yeah,
sense.
and then the other thing is too is that there's rumors that Henry was it Cavill wasn't
Yeah.
going to be Superman anymore. I mean, you can't have that. That's why Marvel's Marvel. Marvel has Nick Fury. I mean, you have Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, every well, not every movie and every TV show, and same thing with um, Mary Olsen, right? She's, Scarlet Witch, blah blah blah. But then you hear like on the DC side, well, he might not be playing Superman, or we got another person playing Batman. Why can't you just stick with? I mean, now maybe it's because they're like, maybe the actor's not into it anymore. But
Well, and I feel
that's
like,
something that's something that's like hard to follow when you like maybe there's people who like Ben Affleck as Batman. And you're like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, well, I don't want to do Batman anymore. Some people, I mean, I like Henry Cavill being Superman, and all of a sudden, Warner Brothers goes, we don't know if we want him. Well, no, I want him to be. And not everybody can be Christopher Reeve. You
yeah,
know,
and I feel
even though
like,
you got those deep fakes now.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. But what's weird too is that I feel like in a lot of ways, what they've done is Marvel has had 21, 22, 23 movies now to build these characters up. And so, Iron Man, you know who Iron Man, is, was, whatever.
hmm
I mean, he's probably going to come back eventually, right? But anyway, Captain America, every character has had multiple movies, has had a bunch of time to really expand the character themselves, right? And that
yeah,
allows the storytelling to go even further because you don't have to take the time to do this. DC has basically said, okay, third movie in, let's just put everybody in. And it's
mm,
like, guys, you got to take time. Just because Marvel did the Avengers doesn't mean that you automatically have to do the Justice League today. And I think that's where
yeah,
DC is annoying me with that kind of stuff. But um, Leon was saying that the Snyder Justice League thought was going to be decent, lots of cool bits in it that now people will be able to see. Yeah, and I'm really excited about the Snyder cut, but all the sort of the movement in DC and Warner Brothers is that version of where they were going with their storytelling is stopping with the Snyder cut. And now they're moving in like this new area, this new direction. But I don't know. We don't know how it's going to be received or anything. Let's see
yeah.
what is Brian said. I think DC is making multiverse hard to accept, and they're just in it without introducing the concept. It's not a plot point; it's just an explanation. Yeah. And the Flash movie going forward, concepts of having multiple actors. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's all of it is interesting. It's all in the execution, right? I mean, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see. Flashpoint movie was scheduled to be filmed immediately after Justice League wrapped in October 16. Didn't end up happening. Not sure how it's going to happen now. Just what I heard back then. Looking forward to seeing the multiple Batman. That could be a thing. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I kind of feel like Marvel might do something with Iron Man. They might come in through like, hey, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark is gone, but now there's this Iron Man from this other alternate universe. I mean, do you think I don't know if they would do that, but man, it could be a thing. I love that stuff. I love talking. I love talking about like what they might do, but at the same time, you've heard me. You've heard me say that
Yeah.
man, speculation can kill. Especially if they come up with something and
I
you're
mean,
like,
yeah. When
go ahead.
you watch Far From Home, and then Peter's in the airplane, and he's that doing that tech. You're like, you know what? It would be really cool if he became Iron Man in the next, well, not the next movie, but in the next future becomes the Iron Man, and then pick a kid to do Miles Morales. Pass the baton over, and then let Peter Parker be the next Iron Man. But that's my pipe dream wish. It's not probably not going to come through, but you know,
Yeah, and the playing the Spider-Man and Miles Morales game on the PS5, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying. I mean, I've already liked Miles Morales with Into the Spider Verse. I mean, come on, that movie was amazing.
mhm.
I had so much fun with it, and this is making me go, oh man, we need Miles Morales in live action soon. But
And if
and
you're going to have him, you got to have Donald Glover play. It would be his uncle, right? Right.
Wait, wait. His uncle
What?
was. I'm trying to remember.
Because Homecoming, Donald Glover was the bad guy. Remember
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
He says, "Yeah, you need to clean up the streets because my nephew." I'm thinking,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah." I said, and plus he's part of that Disney, family. Get it done.
Yeah, and Brian said DC will pivot all over again if the Snyder Cut is well received. They're so very reactionary. And really, it's Warner Brothers. And then, uh, and Leon said having separate Batman and Joker films and then a mainline Warner Brothers movie line with different actors playing those characters is just odd. And you know this. You've been around long enough. Leon worked on Justice League.
Yeah,
The original Snyder version of Justice League on the effects team. So I'm really curious what Leon's going to think about all this because he saw a lot of this stuff get filmed. Secret Invasion and Civil War above Spider Verse. You mean in the original? Because that's the thing. I don't know all the. And that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to read some of these
yeah.
classic storylines. I did read Civil War. I feel like, and maybe it's just because I didn't know all the characters. Just like the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Have you ever seen or heard any of that or watched any of that stuff?
I know that the WB network was it CW was doing something like that. Never got the chance to watch it, but yeah, you had Tom Welling playing Superman again, and
Yeah,
oh yeah, I mean,
yeah, and
haven't got the chance to see that. You know,
see, and I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as the Marvel stuff, which is weird because I would say pre Iron Man, the movie Iron Man, I would have said no, I don't like anything Marvel that much. I liked the Ultimate Spider-Man series and the Ultimate X-Men series because they said, "Okay, we've got all these 50 years of comic history. Let's reboot the entire thing and start from scratch with new artwork and all that kind of stuff and new stories, but basically we're taking from all this stuff and we're making like the Ultimate series." I enjoyed that. That was fun. I read Spider-Man and X-Men on that side. Um, but yeah, I just was never big into Marvel, and then Marvel comes out of the gate and destroys. I mean, wow. And I think it took it. The Avengers is where it really clicked for me. I don't know if it was for most people, but for me, I enjoyed those movies, but I was never like super into it until the Avengers hit, and then it was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
yeah.
And then went back and watched the first Avenger, loved it. I mean, let's see, what's Mark Miller's Civil War was fantastic. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I don't know. Really like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. It's great, but it makes audiences harder to understand future releases, and they didn't set people up for these interpretations to exist. The movies can't really be like comics because you're trying to make moviegoers into longtime fans. You aren't gonna yes, and that's the weird thing too is that you're absolutely right with all of these different versions, and you're saying, well, we're gonna do a standalone Batman movie and a standalone Joker movie. It confuses the regular, you know, Joe Schmo going in to watch a movie because he doesn't know. Wait a minute, I thought it was Ben Affleck. Now it's Pattinson. What's going? I mean, it's so confusing to the normal person who's
Yeah.
not reading up on this stuff all the time.
And then say some younger kid, watches Flashpoint whenever that comes out, and they go, "Who's Michael Keaton?"
Yeah,
They're like, "Oh, geez." I mean, Michael Keaton's the original Batman. Well, not really the original Batman. He's like the first,
movie
Batman.
Batman. Yeah,
Yeah, the first movie Batman. Yeah.
and it's I kept thinking, I was like, what if they bring in a do you think they could get Adam West's family to sign off on a deep fake Adam West just in the background? That would be
Like Tarkin.
yeah, but I mean just that could be one of those things. You know what I mean? Where
Well,
it's
not
just that.
not him in a suit, but maybe like a other statesman,
Yeah,
sit behind the scenes and tell the other, guys, other Batmans,
I don't even think he needs to say anything. It would just be
no,
one of those things where everybody would be like, "Oh my god, look! Did you see? Freaking Adam West is back there." You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
it could just be one of those things that could be really cool. But that's I feel like in a weird way, it's all everybody's trying to do that next level thing, right? Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame kind of broke everything in a weird way because it's like, okay, now what? What do you do now? Because the tendency is to go bigger and whatever. I don't know. Let's see. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, it's going off in here. Leon said they messed up Civil War completely. Shouldn't have called it Civil War. I haven't kept up with the DC stuff, but I will watch Snyder Cut just because Leon worked on it. Bucho. And then Brian said, I love the animated X-Men series. I think that's where I started being a fan and reading whatever I could find back then. Let's see. We can give him Wolverine and Iron Man suit whilst in Atlantis. What? I don't get that. Michael Keaton is in my top 10 Batmans. That is a bold statement, Bucho. Top 10? Fake Thor killing Goliath as well as yeah. Great in Spotlight, by the way. I still haven't seen it, Bucho. I'm sorry. But soon. Soon. Spotlight is supposed to be really good, and I just haven't seen it. Oh, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about. Gotcha. The Civil War stuff. You know, the weird thing about the collection of Civil War is it doesn't include the post Civil War stuff. I don't know if you know anything about the comics part, but there's a collection of the Civil War part where yes, there's a basically a robot clone Thor for some reason, which is really strange, and I don't know. But see, I didn't Leon that I've read the Civil War collection and what you're talking about is not in there. So I don't know where that takes place, but it's not in that collection of Civil War that I read. I don't know. It must because there's God, I think that's the one of the reasons why I never liked comic books for the most part is because you tell a story and then it's like, oh yeah, to find out about this little thing, a little asterisk, you need to go read this thing over here and you're like, but I'm a kid. I can't afford 28 different comics. I
yeah.
don't know.
Or some of them don't. Some of them don't read. I mean, they can, but they won't read.
Yeah.
That's why, like most of these, comic books. I mean, I appreciate people reading them and all that, but I got the movies and I need to find time to read all this comic books.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that when The Walking Dead started, and then they had The Talking Dead, and that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing that was that when what's his name, Chris,
Yeah. Nerdist
the
guy.
Nerdist.
Chris.
Yeah, he kept on referring. Well, in the comic books, I said, yeah, but I'm here because of the TV show, not for the comic books. I
Right.
understand the comics, but I'm not going to read them. I mean, that's why they got the TV show, because the TV show is going to take from the comic books and go one direction, and meanwhile, Robert Kirkman is going to continue going in the other direction.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's almost like they started from the same point and then they split at some point and started moving off in directions cuz I don't want to say anything. I don't want to cuz I don't know. I stopped watching The Walking Dead like 2 years ago. So I don't know where they are and I don't want to give away some spoiler that I don't even know is a thing. So I just won't even talk about that part cuz it's like I don't even know. But I read the comics up to a point and so I kind of had an idea of where they were going in the show and then they kept going off on these weird tangents
mhm.
where it's like, okay, that's not how it happened in the comic. Okay, I see what you're doing now. And now
It's just,
Kirkman's pretty much said it's its own thing. So
yeah, same thing with the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The book's not finished, but meanwhile the TV show went another way, or continued on with the story. That's why what was it, what was it called, the Red Wedding?
Yep.
You're like, oh my god, really? And then people who read the book are like, yeah, we read it a long time ago, thanks for catching up, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that was coming either. I remember when that came up, it was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That was insane, but I don't know. Now, here's I don't know if you remember this, but I was saying that um one of the things that I would like to see is the sort of thing that I was just talking about, where you've got this comic says, "Well, hey, you should be watching you should have this comic over here." What do you think about the idea of them staggering shows that refer to each other? Like, for example, the Book of Boba Fett is coming.
Hmm.
You've got Mandalorian season 3. You've got Rangers of the New Republic that are all supposed, and Ahsoka, that are all supposed to intertwine. Why not stagger them, like you have one show on Friday, one show on
Yeah.
Tuesday, and the story continues through each one? What do
Hmm.
you what do you think of that? Do you think that would be smart, or do you think it's insane and I should never ever bring it up again?
I think it's smart, but then yeah, because well, you could look at the other way. Okay, so Book of Boba Fett starts what, in November, October, December, whatever,
Yeah.
and then the Mandalorian doesn't start until after that's done, and then say Ahsoka doesn't get done until that, and but if you intertwine it, or maybe within, like, say, the last three episodes of, say, the Mandalorian, the Ahsoka show starts going. So maybe the first three and the last three of the shows intertwine. Like, okay. And then of course you can always have Easter eggs, like something that happens in Mandalorian. The first episode happens in episode 5 of Ahsoka. So as long as they keep doing stuff like that, that intrigues me and that makes me happy. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love the idea of being able to do that, but that would in, that would be like the amount of planning that you would have to do to basically try to write individual episodes for a show like Mandalorian, say. You've got Mandalorian over
Hmm.
here, there's an arc in every episode. But then you've got this other show with its own arcs in each episode that intertwine. That seems like that would be an insane amount of but I just think that would take television to the next level, because you've got all of these series that are all working together. It's not like Chicago Hope or any of those shows that have tried to do the
Yeah,
crossover events where it's almost like, hey, Billy Bob
for
from this
one
show.
episode or two. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. This is a storyline that keeps growing. So I don't know if they're gonna do it where, I guess that's my thing. Are they gonna start with the Book of Boba Fett? You've got that whole story. Then whatever show is done next continues sort of the same story, and you get, maybe, like, say it's Ahsoka. I don't know if Ahsoka will be ready next, but let's say it was. Would Ahsoka episode 1, would there be news about what's happening to Boba Fett after his season finale over there? You know what I mean? And it
Hmm.
just kind of continues. I don't know.
I mean, the only people who can probably pull that off is Lucasfilm and the MCU.
Right. And that was the thing. The whole idea of them doing this multiple series with all this interconnectedness, I'm sitting there and I'm going, I remember when Kevin Feige was at Lucasfilm doing the Star Wars show, and he was talking about, oh yeah, it's awesome to be here and all this. And there was all these whispers about, hey, what's Kevin Feige doing at Lucasfilm? That's interesting. And then the talk that he's doing a movie. So it's just like, this could be the start of something really cool. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even with going back to WandaVision, even with episode 4, hopefully this is not a spoiler, but when someone wakes up from a sleep and she's being
Mm-hmm.
assembled, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That the beginning part, you're like, oh my god, this is where,
Yes.
oh, the snap, oh my god, yeah.
It's
Yeah, if
such
you're
a
not
beautiful.
hooked by seriously, if you're not hooked up hooked on season episode 4 of WandaVision, there's something wrong with you. Seriously.
Or you just don't care, and that's a
Oh
thing
yeah.
too. There's going to be people
Hmm.
that probably see that and go, "Oh yeah, that was like the thing in the okay." But come on, it's
Yeah, the
awesome.
big purple, grimace thing, right?
Grimace, right, right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh my gosh, CW does it with the DC stuff with their shitty shows. Yeah, CW Flash is cheesy but watchable. Let's see. Flash is watchable for a short time. See, that's what happens is you and I, we get involved in a conversation and then they move on with the conversation that they were having. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What do I miss? So much going on. Interconnected plots, independent arcs, particularly if you're not 100% dependent on it, but you get a richer experience if you do. Marvel is basically do it with phase arcs. It would just be better to have an intermediate level too. I just think that would be, again, it's just an inordinate amount of planning when it comes to movies. And you've got different directors, different you probably got a team of writers, and that's kind of what they've done with the High Republic, right? And that's one of the things
Hmm.
that's really exciting about that era is that they've planned it all out. They know how it started and they know already how it's going to end, and everybody's just they're working together to tell this story over all of these different phases of media: children's
Hmm.
books, teen books, comics, and then adult, or I guess what do you call that? Adult readers, I guess. There's adult readers, there's teen
Normal
readers.
books or hardcovers, you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, but they're telling this long story through all of them, but then they're kind of like, okay, yeah, you can tell this kind of side story in this kid's book, but we're not going to make it part of the main storyline.
Which is good because I'm not gonna read a children's book.
Right, right. But the teen that's the thing though. The teen level books though, because
Yeah.
Bloodline is technically a teen level book, I think. A young adult book, isn't it? Or maybe not. I
I
know
don't know.
Lost
I read
Stars
it.
is. Lost Stars is a young adult book, and it's one of the best books I've ever read,
Yeah.
period. It's so good. So, um, Secret Invasion, love the book. Scroll stuff, yep. Oh, Leon said he watched episode 5 and he's still not sold. Wow. Um, they need a way team writers to pull it off. Companies do this all the time with product development. Why not movies? I don't know. See, I just love the idea of the kind of stuff that Marvel has been doing is insane, amazing, love it. I love how everything builds on the previous thing. If you don't watch all of it, they do just enough to keep you caught up. So like I remember I missed one of the Ant-Man movies and saw the next movie and it kind of gave you enough information
Hmm.
that you knew what was going on, but it wasn't like, oh, you didn't know the thing from the net. No, I don't know why they would do that in a movie, act like that. But anyway, uh, I would love to see it be more interconnected than it already is. And especially in a TV format, in a streaming format, nobody's ever done anything like it. And I think that'd be an interesting challenge. And I think Kevin Feige is just crazy enough to do it, to try it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be happy if WandaVision was just Bettany acting drunk and doing magic shows. Yes. That
Oh, you know
was.
what?
Huh?
How about from what Boots was saying? Imagine WandaVision, especially Paul Bettany, Vision doing a Archie Bunker type show.
Ah,
Oh, I know there's a lot of yeah.
yeah, but still, it could be fun walking that
Yeah.
tightrope with Paul Bettany as. Of course, I'm one of those that is again. I love seeing actors that you know their work and seeing them get to play is fun. I love that.
Hmm.
And I love Paul Bettany and everything he does. If you haven't seen Beautiful Mind, you need to see Beautiful Mind.
Oh
If you
yeah.
haven't seen Master and Commander, you need to see Master and Commander. It's amazing, great stuff. Um, So yeah, so development teams, you have team A, B, and C. They create guidance for working in their space, and they usually have people from team A go right in team B space to support the efforts of team A. Sometimes they just embed a writer or have them working in both teams to serve as a bridge. Ah. I don't know, man. There's something about, you know, hey, on the next episode of Ahsoka, are you frozen? Oh, you were you didn't move
Yeah.
for a second. I thought, oh crap,
Yeah.
did I lose him? On the next episode of Ahsoka, it's continuing the story kind of from a different angle from the previous 4 days ago or something. I just love that idea. I just don't know if they could
Hmm.
pull it off. Ah, like the Lucasfilm story group working with Ryan Johnson to make sure all the films and books lores line up. See, you said you were a fan of Last Jedi, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and then yeah, I
I mean,
was.
wasn't there a rumor that with Bloodlines, Ryan Johnson has told Claudia Gray to write something in the storyline, and that about it, so it might be used in the Last Jedi, and then of course, then you don't know what I didn't know what it was. I could have sworn I read something like that. So when after reading that book, you're thinking, okay, if they use this in the bloodline, they take this part of the bloodline and use it in Last Jedi, that'd be kind of cool. The whole um, Leia Vader thing, or the character that collected all the Empire stuff. You know,
Yes. And that's I can't remember Bloodline. I've it's been a while since I've read it, but did you pick up on anything like that? Or was it
what do you mean?
like you said that they I didn't
Oh yeah,
realize there was a
there's
connection.
nothing in Bloodlines that or anything in Last Jedi was anything about Bloodlines,
Okay. Cuz I knew, well, I don't know enough about.
unless I missed something. You know.
Yeah. I just I love the idea of them all working together, you know, the story group
Mhm.
being who they were, and then that's what was so disappointing about Rise of Skywalker is they basically said, "Eh,
Yeah,
but
have two
wait a minute,
people
Poe's
write it.
he's already been shown that he's, he went to he grew up as a pilot and he did he's a smuggler. Like, but that's not what happened. It's fine. It's a movie. Who cares about the books? How about the people that have been buying your books? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just that's frustrating for me. Uh, let's see. What am I? You have the same thing. Yeah, he said a better version of that would work. So much changes in between, even whilst filming is happening. We get rewrites whilst. It's definitely a British thing. Leon, we're filming stuff. Yes, and then difficult to implement, especially with different ideas and interpretations. Right, and then Brian said, when I worked on the help experience for Alexa powered devices, the devices with the screen, the entire interface, and the 1 foot versus 10 foot experience was rewritten after the hardware was built and our dev team had finished all the help experiences. We were able to get it all to work together and remain somewhat cohesive with our plans for rolling it out on tablet and phone. That's interesting. And that's the thing. It's really just all about planning. And just like the story group was kind of like they were all kind of saying, okay, this is the shell of what we're trying to do. And you've got wiggle room in there to make those changes, but just don't, Luke's on the island right now. So you can't have him over here doing this. That's so the big moves
Yeah.
you can't change, but the little things you can. I don't know. It just irritates me when it's literally like Bob Iger came in and go, dang it, Last Jedi, people didn't like it. And they're like, yeah, but we've got the ratings. I've been reading Reddit. They don't like it. So we got to change this. We got to change that. But Poe's not a smuggler. He's a pilot with he's a smuggler now. He's a smuggler now. Okay. You know what I mean? That's the thing that really irritated me. So were you like that too? Or were you less, were you just kind of like, let's just move on. Is that how you were?
With the what?
With Rise of Skywalker, did you feel that kind of that pull on either side, this tug of war, or were you just kind of went with it?
Yeah, well, at the first show, yeah, at the first time I saw it, it was like, and then when you see it second and the third time, you're like, you could have done so much better. I mean, when and this is about how speculation could kill, your thoughts on a movie if it doesn't happen. But when you have a different viewpoint of Mustafar, and then you got Kylo Ren, you know, where old granddad used to live, and you don't show the Vader castle, you'd be like, oh, you're there, but okay,
That I don't know.
because someone,
Yeah. Why would you not? I don't know.
yeah,
Why would you not just maybe show some lava? I don't. I don't know. But then
yeah,
again, that's that whole thing too, is where it's like that's one thing that's always been kind of a nitpick of mine is that every planet in Star Wars is its own ecosystem.
hmm
So Tatooine is just desert. There's no water. There's no lush whatever. It's just
well, there's
desert planet.
Jakku,
Hoth is just an ice
right?
planet. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, really? There's not 1,000 miles east of here is I don't know. So maybe that's what it was, is they were trying to, oh no, well, not everything's a lava planet on Mustafar. See, it's just a different area with trees. And you're like, okay, but
Mhm.
that's first time in a movie. I don't know. That's always
Yeah,
bugged me. That's always bugged me. Let's see, Leon said, stuff changes in movie shows. People try different stuff, see what works. George R. R. Martin agreed on everything we did for the finale, but somehow, if he ever finishes the books, I doubt he's ever going to write it the same way. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Were
yeah.
you like big into Game of Thrones back in the day?
Well, obviously, I didn't read the books,
Mm.
but yeah, I would watch it. I mean, there's people who would watch the show and understand because they read the books and they were really into it, like we are with Star Wars. But I was like, yeah, I know him, and I know him. Oh, Pedro Pascal was a character. Oh yeah, he was in season 4, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's something to enjoy and watch.
yeah,
That's why when the last season, how watching season 8 of Game of Thrones and watching the people who are really fans of Game of Thrones freak out and bitch and complain. I go, oh, that's like how I go through with Star Wars, and just watching you is like entertaining. So it's like eating popcorn and watching them just like bitch and complain about their
and yell at each
fandom
other.
and their story. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I used to be. Yeah, I'm like that too, but in a different kind of way.
it's weird. Yeah, because I think a lot of people, the people that were really upset about Game of Thrones, like I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll just say the last season I was fine with it. I felt like the turn when she just decides, yeah, screw it, let's burn it all. That was a little abrupt.
Yeah.
But it's in a way it's a lot like Anakin
hmm
because he's sitting there crying, not like, oh, what do I do? Oh, well, maybe I should just kill the Mace Windu. I mean, you know, or at least impair him enough that Palpatine can kill him. It's still that, it's still abrupt. But then the Clone Wars helps with realizing he's been battling with this for a long time, you know? And that's what was great about that show. But yeah, Game of Thrones, man, I was just like, I liked it. I know that there's some things that people don't like, but
Yeah.
and even Leon was saying that there were scenes that were shot on Game of Thrones that they just changed, and they it's almost like they did pickup shots later on to change the ending that they'd already shot. And that's there it goes. There were different ending bits on season 8. We had to deal with leaks and all sorts, which messed some stuff up. Yeah, which is
No, at
that's a
least we
bummer.
got his. At least we got to see his, his talent, his artwork. Hey,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's see. MCA is a good example of doing it high level challenge, make it interconnected. Is at some degree the finer level. That's the thing that could make it cool or could make it crap. Yep. That's just. Oh, were you big on Lord of the Rings too? Were you a big fan of that, or you just kind of like,
yeah, a lot of walking.
eh?
You know,
the that was a Clerks bit, right? There was
Oh
a
yeah, Clerk. Yeah.
yeah. I love Lord of the Rings, but The Hobbit, so bad, so bad. Ugh, it's almost frustrating. Pixar almost has it too. Someone could actually start developing entire stories for the spaces between the movies that would be better supported by visual evidence. See, it's weird because now that I have, you know, you've been around me for a lot of years. You know, I'm big into movies. To actually work on one and see how things morph and change on the day on a small project. You know that has to happen on a big on big movie sets too. Leon's saying it too. So yeah,
Hmm.
I can just imagine how difficult that would be. I don't know. Like what is your viewpoint on where do you see this going, like say 5 years? Do you think there'll be 20 more new series? Do you think they'll try to stick close to what they've got now, or do you think they'll
Oh,
spread out?
in
What do you
general,
think?
I think we're gonna find out with MCU, but more or less like Star Wars, where the trilogy is probably done. You know, so if you were going to just imagine doing a TV show, you can call it whatever, post Jedi, Return of the Jedi, and 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 go from post Jedi to Rise of Skywalker, and it's like 5 to 6 seasons of 10 episodic shows. I mean, I don't know if that's a little bit. I mean, that's too much, but definitely more than like more than 6 hours to tell a story. You know, from beginning. I mean, because like at the end of Jedi to the beginning of Force Awakens, you got 30 years, and then even I, as a Star Wars fan, you watch the beginning of the Force Awakens, and you go, First Order. What happened to the Empire? I kind of understand what happened to the Empire, but who's the First Order? And then you hear Kylo Ren goes, "Oh, we got the information from the books of the Last Empire." I'm like, "Okay, are we're going to discuss this, or is there going to be like a side movie, or yeah?" So just can you imagine that whole entire sequel being played out in a streaming service kind of way? Well, definitely enhance the story more because then you have more writers writing better, content.
It's
So
I almost feel like in a lot of ways JJ Abrams, who I think before the Star Wars movies, I was a little more forgiving of, but it's almost like he's got the big ideas, but he doesn't know how to make them work. So he's
mhm.
like, "Oh man, wouldn't it be cool if it was basically like a second empire?" Do you want to explain that in the movie? No. No, we're just going to show it and
Yeah,
hope people get it. But I remember there was after Force Awakens came out, it was something on starwars.com that basically showed it was like a sidebar type thing where it just kind of showed, yeah, so this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and the first order was there. And I was like, "Oh, why wasn't this in the movie? You
yeah.
need that in the movie because you need to understand what the hell you're looking at." Because you go,
Maybe,
okay, they're kind of stormtroopers, but they're a little different. What's going on?
yeah,
I don't know.
maybe that's what they're doing now. What they did, what they done with the Clone Wars and up to Revenge of the Sith, past Revenge of the Sith, filling that void, where they'll go back, they're doing Ahsoka and all that, and then somehow, I mean, I know we got to talk about the Skywalkers. Is you know Ben's birth? You got to address that. What happened to Mom Martha? Battle Jakku, and then I mean, I don't know if you played you played the game Battlefront 2, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah. Back
they
on the
had
Rob the Idiot.
Operation Cinder. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Where they had Operation Cinder.
right.
You're like, oh, if they did the movie, and then when you watch The Mandalorian, you see Bill Burr had that great, acting, and he says, "Oh yeah, when that was called, Operation Cinder." You're like, yes, we need more of that. You know, show us what that terrible thing happened. Back in the day. You know,
It's weird. It's
show
like,
that.
yeah, you. It's almost like from most people's point of view, it's like when Obi-Wan mentions the Clone Wars in A New Hope.
Yeah.
You have no idea what that is.
Hmm.
But then if you get on the internet, you can look and find out what Operation Cinder is, which is kind of their point, but it would have been cool to actually have a reference point that most people would have recognized. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Operation
No,
Cinder
but you had to
was
play the game to find out what it was,
right, right. But I mean, for
or
those
read
of
a
us
book.
who did play it, it was like, oh, holy crap,
Yeah.
that was cool. You know, having everything work together is great when it works. But then a lot of times you have those people that are like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
So
and it had
it's
that planet that was dedicated to the Empire with those red or that that burgundy white
yeah,
colors. You're like, oh wow, you know,
yes.
cool. Like World War II Germany. You know,
I look. I still look. I know there's the people that don't like the Last Jedi, but man, visually that movie is just insane, and in 4K, it's awesome. I'll just say that it's awesome. It's
yeah, especially when two hands touch Ray and Kylo.
I actually think that that's one of the cooler looking scenes because it's all practical.
Yeah.
They blew up the way that they shot that is just it's so cool. But hey,
Hmm.
let's see. JJ, it was JJ who came up with the idea that Luke was a quitter and ran away to sulk, not Ryan. That's true. Um, I don't know. I there's no way to fix it now. I think
Yeah.
Rises. I think that's why I was so looking forward to episode 9. Is I felt like 7 was there, 8 built upon it and broke some of the stuff in 7, but in a fun, hey, let's really mix it up because we're taking what you thought was the big bad, you're making one of the characters the big bad. Oh, this is going to be cool. And then in episode 9 they were like, no, we need a big bad that's not Kylo Ren. I was like,
Yeah.
why you do why you do this? Why you do all this? I think that Ryan was very careful to make sure his story fit and the wider story group stuff, and then well, especially if you watch the special features. Did you
Hmm.
watch the special features on 9?
Yeah.
I don't get the impression that JJ meant to break things. I honestly think that he had somebody from Lucasfilm / Disney going, no, put this in there. Put this in there. Okay, that whole let, let's let Luke raise the X-wing from the water. It'll be just like in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, but the wing was his door, so are they going to repair the X-wing? Don't worry about it. We're just going to put that in there. I'm like the first as soon as it is raising up, I'm like, so they're going to repair the X-wing because his door, the Red 5 door it's the door for the building and what? None of that matters. I don't know.
So do you believe? I think right around after they showed the first trailer for Rise of Skywalker and Ian McDermott came up and said, "Oh, the Emperor is back." Do you believe that the Emperor was always in their minds since the Force Awakens, or you think it was Disney says, "Nah, put him back in"?
No, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, because even the if you especially if you read the script, the Colin Trevorrow script for episode 9, Emperor's not in there at
Yeah.
all. And it doesn't, to me it still it breaks things because you know, it kind of messes with the whole chosen one thing, doesn't it? Because if the Emperor
Exactly. They
survives,
pretty much made Anakin look. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he's not the chosen one anymore by defeating the Emperor. So because the Emperor survived, so which is part of the reason why I was never a big fan of Legend stuff is because they brought back the Emperor twice in different ways. He was a clone once, then he was I don't even know. With Snoke, you were expecting Plagueis, yeah, but let's see, what is it? Oh, the Terrence Howard was problematic, so he got the boot. Good for Don Cheadle, yes. Which always that messed me up for a long time because I really enjoyed Iron Man 1,
Hmm.
but then I like Don Cheadle a lot. So yeah, there you go. Bucho said with Snoke, I was. So you were stoked when he died. I was just excited because it meant that Kylo Ren was the big bad, and it was
Yeah.
he got to do something. He achieved something Vader never got to achieve, which was be the man. You know, the main Sith. So I was excited. I was like, "Oh, is he gonna get an apprentice? Oh, is he gonna try to get Rey? What's gonna happen?" Nah, he's just not the big bad anymore because the Emperor's there. And you're telling me we don't. Let's not do another Death Star like Star Killer Base, but we need a
Oh,
big thing. What do we do? Oh, let's just put the same power on all the Star Destroyers. Oh God. So yeah,
yeah.
it's basically just put more of things in the movie, and that's what Rise of Skywalker was, and that's just ugh. Watching episode 9, he really hoped that Richard E. Grant was Darth Maul in disguise. Now that would have actually been kind of interesting. I want again, my whole thing was Hux. I wanted Hux to be sort of growing in power as Kylo Ren is starting to figure. Oh, I'm the big bad guy. I've got everything. I've got all this power, but I'm still feeling the pull to the light. And at the same time, Hux is taking over the First Order. That's what I wanted from Episode 9, and that there would be a fight there as Kylo Ren starts to be redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
That Hux would be the big bad. And that's why I thought, oh, okay, Richard E. Grant. Okay, so maybe he's going to be another person to fight against Kylo Ren. And he just basically was, I'm a British man and I'm in charge. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, anyway, Star Wars, I just hope they continue with what they're doing with The Mandalorian and continue that level of quality and care with the rest of the stuff. I mean, that's just kind of what I want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else besides the Marvel and Star Wars stuff that you're like really into right now, or you got an eye on?
Not at this time. I mean, once in a while, like I said, I've been watching anything but cable. But when it's cable, BattleBots. You know,
BattleBots. Is that
yeah,
is
it's
that
like, hey, I'm tired. I want to go to bed, but not quite. Oh, what's on? Oh, BattleBots. Okay, that's cool. And some of it's entertaining.
is that literally what I think it is? Like,
Yes, where
okay,
people build not
yes.
robots, but bots that spin and whatever, and then they just put them in this like bulletproof cage, and then they just go at it. Some of them use flamethrowers, and yeah, it's entertaining.
See, I've never watched anything like that, but maybe I ought to give it a shot. One of the things that Brian turned me on to was the um in fact, Brian, it was you, I believe. But it was the marble races, but they're done like a big. It's
Oh,
on
marble
YouTube.
raises.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, those are good.
I got like sucked into it for like a week. And I was watching like April's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching all the marble races." Yeah, but look at them; they're fighting in the stands. You know, all that stuff. It's
Oh
just,
yeah, and then they're having the Olympics. You know.
yes. God, I love that stuff. I think it's so good. And and then that's the thing that's really kind of annoying, and it's something I mentioned on recently, was that I don't take enough time to find new things because I'm so busy talking about the things I am doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of the things Billy from the Game Chasers mentioned, that um, it's a constant thing. It's a constant battle because there's all these people that we are friends with and we're talking to and all this stuff, and you don't have time to watch any of it. So I don't know. It's tough. Um, are y'all still talking about Don Cheadle? Is Don Cheadle a more accurate representation? British powered cheesy acting. That's all Star Wars. Yes. Version. Brian said he never liked Terrence Howard because he's not believable with his mannerisms. He said, "Have you ever met an active duty guy like that? Not likely." Uh, I don't know. I think. Do you have a favorite Marvel movie?
Oh man, I had to go look, or I had well, not go look, but I had to think
You have to
about
think
that.
about that. Like, were you a big fan of the? Because I mean, I assume that you were a fan of Spider-Man since Octavius, right? Or is that even where
No,
that came from?
no, it did not.
Oh, where'd it come from then?
Okay, so back in the '90s, um, how there was forums coming up, forums like what we used to do with the old show now, and now it's becoming we call it Discord.
Yep.
So as I think organizing or doing something with my baseball cards, and in the background I'm watching TV, and at the same time I want to come up with this Star Wars name that sounds cool on the forums, and that's like Sidious. No, who wants to do that? And I want to be original, and that's it has to end in IOUS, and then I started vicious. I'm like, no, that's dumb. And then right at the time, I believe it was the History Channel I was watching, or I had it in the background. They were talking about the Roman Empire, and they said Octavian. I go, oh, Octavius. Okay, boom, wrote that down. I'm like, okay, Darth Octavius. Okay, that's all right. I said that's going to be my forum name, and then from that point on, it's been that. So,
Oh, see, that's
but no,
see,
it's not from the Spider-Man universe or anything like that.
I
It's
honestly
more of
thought
a
all this time that's what it was.
no. It's mainly the Roman Empire kind of thing because I like Roman Empire stuff, which is cool when you watch the History Channel, by the way, and it's about the Roman Empire. I come to find out that Peter Weller went to Syracuse University for that, for that reason. He's like, oh my God, RoboCop knows about Julius Caesar. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Down
Yeah,
the street, well, not down the street, but it's in the same state.
I love man. Peter Weller is. I've always liked that guy. I mean, everything I've
Yeah,
ever seen. He's another one of those actors where pretty much anything he's in, as long as he's in it, that part you don't have to worry about. He's gonna be good. You know. So yeah. Oh man.
yeah, like Dexter. Yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Dexter, by the way. Is that something I need to? I feel like that's another
You
one I
gotta
need to get
talk to
into.
everybody on the chat and all that, but yeah, definitely the first four. First four, you definitely have to watch.
All right.
The third
And
one, depending on you might not like it, but I like it because it continues his story. Yeah,
they're doing another one, right? They're doing like
yeah, they're going to, from what I read, they're gonna come back and they're gonna. What did they say? They were gonna continue the story, but they're not going to retcon what happened in the last, other seasons. I think they're going to do like I don't know if a movie or if they're going to be like a mini series, but yeah, they're going to come back with that. So that's kind of cool.
huh, that could be cool. I mean, I just like I said, I need to watch Dexter, I guess. That's funny. Bucho said, "Why does Octavius look so much younger than us?" By the way, I thought we were all about the same age, but he looks like he could only been 7 when the Phantom Menace came out. So I guess that's good. You look
Well,
like
it's
a
genes,
yeah. See,
the good looks. Yeah, I haven't been in the sun in a lot in where the Kiwis live.
right, yeah, because Bucho,
Yeah.
he's a builder. remember that whole thing, right? It's like I
Yeah.
thought you said you were Buddha.
Oh, speaking of Bucho, and this is how there was you were asking about other TV shows that I watch. I can't believe I forgot about this, but anything Nat Geo on Disney Plus, The Right Stuff. They got a TV show
mm,
on that, and the other one is on Apple TV Plus. Is all for obviously it's called All for Mankind.
right,
That's a
yes.
cool TV show.
I still
It's
haven't
that
seen either
what
one
would
of those.
have huh?
I still haven't seen either one of those. They're on my list.
Yeah. And I was wondering if Bucho has seen All for Mankind because with that, that's like like it's a different version of what would happen if the Russians landed on the moon before the United States did, and then it just goes into that story, and it's really cool how they have written it. You know,
Have you?
now females are getting into it. Or females are becoming like astronauts. Oh yeah, well, I don't want to spoil too much.
Well, no, I remember seeing. Excuse me, I remember seeing the commercials for it, and I was like, oh, I need to watch that. I still have yet to watch a single thing on Apple TV Plus, including Greyhound, which was supposed to come out in the movies. Tom Hanks. You haven't seen All for Mankind? I have to check it out. Bucho? Have you watched the right stuff? Right? Is it just a?
Yeah, the right
Is
stuff.
it just like a
Yeah.
series of? I don't. Is that that's a series, right?
Yeah, I think it was 8 episodes. It's pretty much. I mean, if you watch the movie, it's now expanding it a little bit, but it's a little bit different because let's take for instance, well, about John Glenn being, you know, faithful, being, believing his faith, and then with this one and with this TV show, it amplifies it even more. Where if you look at it in one way, he becomes, he could seem like a jerk. Um, then the Gordo Cooper in the movies, played by Dennis Quaid, he's always, who's the best pilot you ever saw. And then when we watch this TV show, it's like, hmm, I'm just a pilot kind of thing. Like, oh, you're not as charismatic as what I
Hmm.
known in the movie. So,
I
but
love
it's a
that
good
movie,
show
by
to
the way.
watch anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's wait, so it's fictional. The
What, the
the
right
right
stuff?
stuff. Yeah.
No, that's not fiction. That's
It's
based on true events,
oh,
or is the true event.
so it's documentary, or is it like a fictional adaptation of those events? You know what I mean?
No, it's written by Tom Wolfe. Tom
Okay,
Wolfe wrote
okay, okay.
about the astronauts, the first seven,
Gotcha.
and yeah, and then it was a movie, and now I guess they're taking that premise and making it a TV show, and I guess expanding it.
Dude,
Like there's certain points of the movie is on the TV show. So
okay. I'm in. I'm in for that for sure. And then Bucha was saying they cross over with Nat Geo or Disney owns them. I think they own them now.
yeah,
Uh, okay, suckafoos. I'm a get away from my desk for the day. I've been here way too much this seek. I'm guessing that's week. I need to get out of the office, out of the house, and maybe go punch punch him more. What? Why? Why would you do that? Don't punch anybody because they throw you in jail for things like that. That's called assault. But yes. We're actually about to call it here because just to make me laugh. Okay,
yeah.
good. But yeah, we're about to get off of here anyway. Is there anything that you want to plug, by the way? I'm curious if
Not
do you,
yet, no.
because I couldn't remember. I was thinking that you were going to be working on something. Maybe I'm mixing things up. I'm probably just an idiot. But thanks. But no, you can see Octavius many times in our chat, causing issues. Just like no, you don't cause issues. You're very easy to deal with. You're not like old David Rivas, that crazy dude. And then yeah, Brian's saying that he could be persuaded to be on the show at some point. Yes, please. Disney Plus has a real Right Stuff as well as the adaptation show, The Right Stuff. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I honestly have never clicked onto the National Geographic section. I've really just got on there for Star Wars and Marvel stuff. That's it. Sorry, I haven't watched anything else. But yeah, dude. Again, Jeff, thank you so much for being on. I had a blast.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Me too.
Yeah, and maybe sometime we can get maybe a few of us in here and we can just chat it up, have a crazy conversation, whatever thing. Could be fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like afternoon for us might be a nighttime or early morning for Bucho.
Yeah, for Bucho, it's what? Let's see, 5 hours back and then a day. So what is it, 9 a.m. for you, Bucho, right now? I think.
9 a.m.
It's doable, basically. We can figure it out. We can make it happen. Make it happen, Captain. Anyway. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys have been blowing up the chat. It's been so much fun. You should have Octavius on at least every couple of months. And he says, yes, it is 9:09 a.m. I was right. Yeah, I'm starting to learn my time zones. But yeah, you should come on. We should come on and do a thing. And it'll be great. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. We had a blast. And I guess we'll see you Tuesday for more hanging out and doing things. So bye. See you later, man.